interruption.
Yeah, and the doors flew open that were down on the stairwell, and we were just running back. And then like the banging, and then we were running back, and a lot of doors were locked to a lot of like rooms that led off this
Yeah.
corridor. And I kicked over a metal bin, and everyone just screamed. I'll never forget that. It was like a tin, like
Yeah.
bin, and I kicked over, and then we worked our way all the way back to where we'd come from, basically. But there was a room on the right, and you could know it led out to the front of the hotel. But it was a storage room, and it had like loads of chairs and stuff in it, and
Yeah.
like about 15 of us were all in there. And I'm 5 foot, and I was literally like, everyone was so much taller than me, and I was huddled up, and these men were trying to break open because it was padlocked, the door at the front, because they wanted to get us out. And you could just hear him coming, like you could just
The
hear it
guy just running, you could hear him.
walking. He wasn't even running; he
Not
was
even running, just
walking,
walking like it was normal.
walking, and it was just constant firing going off. And they managed to open up the sort of door gate thing, and I remember my partner said to me, "Wait, stop!" And everyone was running like around, like because it was like a courtyard, but there was like this middle section which had like plants in, and then there was like these pathways round, and then the main sort of road where you could drive up. So it
Yeah.
was like a big oval. And then he said, "Right, go." And we ran. And next thing I remember is, I don't remember it happening, but a GRENADE
Yeah.
hit me, completely tore off my heel. I didn't know at the time what was happening. I just know that all of a
You
sudden I
couldn't
was on.
even, so when it, so I'm guessing it was thrown,
Yeah.
and when it went off, did you feel any pain, or was the adrenaline just too much that
Yeah, the adrenaline was just
you
too
didn't
much,
know
so I
what
just
had
kept going.
happened?
No, and then sorry.
Kirsty, you're doing amazing, man. And take a break if you need to. Listen, we're all here at your own pace. You don't have to continue if you don't
Yeah,
want to.
no, I'm fine, honestly. And then I sort of looked down, and everything went a bit like, do you know, like TV, when a TV goes a bit like staticky?
Yeah,
Like
like
my
the
vision went
high
a bit
pitch
like
gets
that.
louder and louder. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah, my vision went like that, and everything was just a bit more dull, like a bit more quietened down. But I felt like these stings.
Yeah.
So I was hit by that first, and then I was SHOT 5 times, while I was already obviously injured and still running.
So as you were running, is that when he managed to get?
Yeah, yeah, and it must have blown me and my partner apart. My partner at the time, it must have, because he wasn't next to me anymore. I couldn't see him, and all I saw in front of me, the gates were literally there. They were probably about 3, 4 feet away from me,
Yeah.
but I couldn't get there. Like the pain kicked in, I couldn't get there, and I saw like this. It was like a bush, a DEAD bush. It was just twigs, and I decided that I was going to have to lay there.
And at this point, Kirsty, did you know that you had then been quite badly injured?
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
looked down and I could see.
You could see. You had a look.
Yeah, and there was just obviously red everywhere, and I had big chunks out of my legs. My heel was gone. My little toe was hanging off. I had a big sort of. Am I allowed to?
is it laceration? Is that how you pronounce it?
It's like a skin graft scar thing,
Yeah.
but I had like a big here, and it
Yeah.
just like, and that was, my hand was partly hanging. And in my head, the weird thing is, I was laying there, and at this point, I was looking at the fact that my little toe was hanging on by a thread, and I was trying to keep it on. It sounds so silly,
No,
but
not
I
at
was
that
trying
moment.
to, I
You were
was trying to
desperate
like,
to.
yeah, I was in dirt,
Yeah.
and it was all just dirt, like just dry dirt, and I really didn't want to get the dirt in it, and I was trying to keep it on, so trying to put my foot in the air, and that's when I then looked around.
And was your partner with you at this point? Was he, or had gone? He'd disappeared, or was he?
He'd gone,
He'd gone.
and I heard him calling for me, and I called back, and I could hear it was coming from over, because I was right by the wall. A few feet to my side was the gate, and he was calling for me, and I sort of said, you know, I can't get out. He said, I can't get you, and I said, just tell my family that I love them, and I said, and get away. And then I heard him sort of struggling. Someone was trying to take him to hospital. And then I looked up, and I could see, like, I looked back towards the hotel, and I could see people injured everywhere along the forecourt. And I remembered I was just like looking, and all of a sudden this woman appeared, and I said to her, please don't leave me. I don't want to DIE on my own.
And at this
I
point, your
really,
partner had been taken off. You were on your own.
yeah. And I said, I just don't want to DIE on my own.
Yeah.
And she said, I can't. I'm looking for my daughter. I've got to find my daughter. She said, I'll come back for you. And I was like, just please don't leave me. She said, shh, like, he's coming. And she went. And then I looked up at the sky at this point, and I just come to terms with it. And it was weird.
Your last moments.
It was
Yeah.
weird because I was picturing my family, like, and it was just, so I come to peace. In this like chaotic, dreadful, horrific time, like I could just feel peace. Like I just felt like the sky was bright blue, and the sounds all around me had sort of gone.
You almost felt ready to go.
I was ready at this point, and because I was just so scared, and obviously I saw him go to there was a couple just, oh, it must have been, it wasn't far away at all, and he was point blank, am I allowed to say that?
Yep.
Point blank, SHROTING, people that were injured on the floor in the head. And this woman had, who I assume was her partner, in her lap. And she was pleading, like, don't, please don't. And he didn't do anything to her, but he did to him straight in the head, in her legs. And
So you see him. You see what he looked like. You remember what? Yeah. You remember his voice? Anything like that? No.
No, but I will never forget the eyes. I will never forget the
And
eyes.
did
It was
he
like
look
there
at
was nothing
you?
there. Yeah, so he then came, and I knew he was coming for me. So I had lost 7 pints at this point, 7 pints of blood, and I knew I was laying in a puddle of my own blood, and
Yeah.
I thought to myself, the only way I can, because I it sounds really stupid, but I watched like loads of crime and stuff on TV, like true crime and stuff. And I
Yeah.
thought the only way I can even try to come out of this is to pretend that I'm unalive.
Yeah.
So I laid as still as I possibly could, and he walked over me. And I'll never forget like the footsteps, like, and I was just really trying not to move. And he walked over, and then next thing I remember is I don't know how much time had passed, but someone, a local man, young man, came running in from outside the gates. He picked me up. I was obviously scared at this point. I didn't know whether I was being taken, like whether
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening,
And I
and I was
suppose at
so
that point as
confused.
well, Kirsty, you just thought at this point, just do what you
Yeah,
need to do because you had no energy left
yeah,
to fight anymore.
and I'll never forget. Like when he picked me up, he carried me, and as he was walking out the front gates, all these locals were just stood there with their mobile phones, and they were just filming and taking pictures and trying to get up close to take pictures. And I was just putting my hand up because I was like, no, because I didn't want my family to see that on the internet. That is the last thing that they would remember me by. So, and then he literally flagged down a fisherman that was in a pickup truck,
Yeah.
and he put me in the back, and he sat in the back with me. So it was like basically we were just in the open.
And
In this,
Kirsty, at this point, you still don't know where your partner is. He's gone. You're on
he's
your
gone.
own. You're being taken by a
He took
man. You don't know
his
what
he took
he's.
his vest off, and he wrapped it round.
Yeah.
And I remember it was white, and it just turned red. Like he was trying his best, and I remember he was trying to keep me awake the whole time, but he didn't speak much English. Obviously, I didn't speak his language, so I just remember kept saying how long, because it felt like
Yeah.
forever. But the whole time, like my adrenaline was going, I didn't pass out, and I used to pass out from like nosebleeds and stuff like that. So I was thinking, like, I just really wanted to, because I just wanted it
You could
like to
the
stop.
adrenaline. It was just too. Yeah. I get it.
And luckily he took me to more of the, I think it's more like a private type hospital,
Yeah.
because if he would have took me to their standard hospital, which was closer,
Yeah.
but he knew I wouldn't survive because they wouldn't be able to have done anything to help me
Yeah.
because they're not equipped for that.
And I
So
suppose as well there was way too many injured for them to cope.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he took me there, and then the last thing I remember is I was on a bed, and I said to them, "Put me to sleep, please put me to sleep." And it was just all a foreign language, like just loud, and then I remember waking up. I don't know if there's anything you
You
want me to
must
go
have.
over already.
So during that point, did they put you to sleep, or
Yeah,
did you naturally just go to sleep?
I think they put me to sleep. I
Yeah. So you
can't.
don't know by that point when you've woken up. You don't know how long it's been. You don't know. So you still don't know where your partner is.
No, and
You don't know how bad your injuries are at this point.
no, and I woke up, and I just remember having 3 or 4 phones just shoved in my face, like, and I just took the phone and I just dialed my mum's home number because that's the only number that I knew.
Yeah.
And I said, "Mum," and she was, "Kirsty, is that you?" Like, because they were ringing round, they were trying to find me. Um, they couldn't get hold of me. I said, like, my ex-partner's name. I said, you know, "Where is he? Do you know?" And they said, his sister is flying out to him. He's in a different hospital. He's okay. And you, I was. Then they took the phone off me, and I couldn't understand anything they were saying. I didn't at this point. I didn't even know if I had my legs still
Yeah.
because I was like wrapped in this green, like fairy type. Do you know that really harsh like
Yeah. Yeah.
blanket? But it was so hot. But I was just wrapped in it. I couldn't feel anything. I kept saying to them medicine, and they kept like pointing to the clock.
Okay.
And then they put me in this room, and literally across the room in another bay, they pulled the curtain, and there was unalived people in there. So I didn't
And
know whether,
you saw them?
yeah, and I didn't know whether that's what was happening to me. I was trying to ask. I said, "Am I like DIENING?" And they couldn't answer me because they couldn't understand me, and
No.
I was all on my own. And there was a woman in the bed next to me. She was just screaming, like terror screaming, and I was so scared that they were going to come back.
Yeah.
If they knew like where I was.
And by this point, Kirsty, did you know how much time had passed? You still
No,
weren't aware?
no, no, I wasn't aware of anything. I didn't eat the whole time I was there. I, to be honest, they saved my life.
Yeah.
They literally took out the. Am I allowed to say shrapnel?
Yeah.
They took out as much of that as they could, and they stitched up, and they took out the GUN
Yeah.
from in me, and they stitched that up. But there was a lot of infections and stuff that was taking over my body through all the dirt and all the debris and everything that was still inside. And I was so confused, and I just wanted someone to be there with me. I was in and out, like in pain. Just kept begging for more medicine.
Yeah.
And then I think they sent a. It's weird. Like in some respects, like it's quite a traumatic. It was quite traumatic. Just even that hospital experience.
Yeah.
I, I remember like I just wanted. I kept asking them for a phone. And then I think that TUI representative
Yeah.
came round, and I said, you know, I need to speak. She said, we've spoke to your family. Your dad's on the way. He's flying out. And then she had a lot of people to see. She had a lot that was going on, so she was very busy.
Yeah.
And I remember that I saw this blonde lady walking like outside the room, and I called to her because I thought, like, she's blonde, she's got to be British, you know. Like, I need
Yeah.
to talk to someone that's English, and ask what's happening to me. And her husband was in the room, across, and because we were in the ICU part,
Yeah.
and she was amazing. Like, she like rubbed my hair. She would call my family constantly to see when they were coming. She would
And was
like.
she part of TUI, or was she?
She was just a partner of
She
her
was just a
husband was
partner.
injured, so she was spending her time like for the first 24 hours between my room and
I know.
her husband's, and because he was badly injured too, and yeah, and then my dad came out, and he wasn't happy because there was no security on the hotel, and he was like, you
Yeah.
know, there needs to be. And they said to my dad, you know, Tunisia is a safe place, and my dad was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, you know, this
It
has just
doesn't feel
happened.
it. Yeah.
You need. And my dad was really trying to fight to get me back to the UK because he could see that I was deteriorating and
Yeah.
deteriorating. But no one wanted to fly me back because of how injured I was.
You were in critical condition.
Yeah, it was too much of a risk, and they didn't want to. And I remember because my dad came out with it was my dad and my uncle. They were only allowed to come into my room at certain times because they weren't allowed to be there when I was cleaned or any sort of routine times. So my dad sort of snuck me a phone under my pillow so I could contact them.
Yeah.
And I remember the one time my dad and my uncle were like, Kirsty, if you want to get back, you need to play down how in pain you are.
Yeah.
You need to don't scream in pain like you are. Hold it in until you get off the phone.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're not going to bring you back. So I remember speaking, and they were like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like trying to hold it in,
even though you were in excruciating pain.
Yeah, because I just wanted to be home so bad. I was so scared. Like I was just watching out the window. Like, I just at this point I just thought he's coming back. You know, this ain't over. And yeah, I think 3 days I was over there in hospital, and I had to get a medivac. Was done through my insurance. The day before I flew out, I'd done a £5 travel insurance because I thought, oh, you know what, I'm like,
You
I'm
won't
going to
really
lose my
need
bag.
it. Yeah.
I thought I'd probably lose my bag, to
And
be
we all
honest.
do that, Kirsty. I've done it. Sometimes I've travelled with no travel insurance because you don't expect things like that to happen.
No. And they ended up flying a doctor from Germany because I had to be flown, I had to be on a bed, I had to be hooked up to all the medicine, and I had to have a doctor and a nurse present the whole way. So they flew out to Tunisia, then they flew back to the UK. But I remember they said that if you want, like, you're not allowed to have an operation 24 hours.
Yeah.
24 hours. Sorry, it threw me off. I was just looking at comments.
Kirsty, have a drink. We can have a drink. Let's have a drink and a little vape. Do you want to go for a? Do you want to go for a thingy? Yeah, come on, we'll go with you.
Yeah. It might be a bit dark out here, but I'll take you out. You probably won't be able to see me.
We're gonna go with her. Take a break, absolutely. Can we turn comments off just for a minute? Just while she has just a little breather. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honestly, you're doing amazing. I see nothing but love for you in this chat. Everyone go and take a little break.
Oh.
You're doing amazing, Kirsty, honestly. Do you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I feel absolutely fine. Yeah. I'm just
that's it, spark it up.
Just getting a little bit like lost, like where I'm at.
It's a lot to go through. It's a hell of a lot to go through.
I'm just getting really hot. And
how old were you when this happened?
25.
25.
Yeah. I had been working since the age of 15. Always worked full time. Even when I was at college, I was working full time. Yeah. Just completely. We'd moved into a private rented place a year before. Mm-hmm. My dad said, like, one of the first things I said to him when I woke up was, how am I going to pay my rent?
Yeah.
It's weird the way, like, your brain...
You think you'd react in a certain way.
Yeah.
But actually, when it comes down to it, you react completely different, and you'll say things completely different to what you imagined that you would if you were put in that sort of situation.
Yeah, that's right.
And at the time, Kirsty, did you have any children?
No.
No,
I didn't, luckily, which was a godsend, really. I'd always wanted to be a mum, but I thought that I'd never have the chance. I honestly never. It was weird, like waking up after you are ready to DIE. I was so ready, and I remember saying, like, I'm just ready to go now. Why am I here?
Yeah. Did you think that the injuries were probably going to be too bad that you felt that you didn't want to carry on? Did you
I didn't think I would still have my legs. I honestly didn't. Um, I just didn't think that.
So you were almost convinced that you didn't have your legs there.
Yeah,
They were gone.
I asked my dad. I said, I remember him passing the nurses at the hospital in Tunisia. They passed me my bikini that I was wearing, and it was just in a bag, and just passed it to me. And I looked at it, and it was just covered
Yeah.
in blood, and I was just, I was just so in shock.
And at this
And
point,
the only
sorry,
thing
go
that I
on.
was drinking was apple juice, pure apple juice, and to this day I can't stand it. I can't.
No,
I've never touched apple juice
the
since.
smell, the look of it, just all of yeah, the taste,
Yeah,
all of it just is not good. Yeah. And at this point, Kirsty, did you know what your partner at the time, did you know what his injuries were? Did you know that he was still alive, or did you have any
yeah.
contact? When did you find contact with him?
My dad. So my dad came straight to me,
Yeah.
and my uncle went to him because his sister wasn't there yet. So my uncle went to where he was, and so we were in contact through my dad and my uncle. And my uncle, bless it, he stayed with him the whole time.
Yeah.
And I knew that he had sustained some shrapnel to his back, but he was okay. He was going to get discharged from hospital,
Yeah.
and he was coming straight to me.
So then he travelled to you, and
My uncle brought him in.
yeah. So he was released from hospital with minor injuries, or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You left the hospital 3 days later after.
So we both got medivaced back together because we didn't want to be apart.
Yeah.
And because there was a nurse also, he was allowed to be medevaced back with me
Yeah.
to the UK, but my dad and my uncle weren't allowed to be on the flight
They weren't
because it
allowed.
was too small. It was a private jet.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I remember the ambulance came, and we had two separate ones. There was a lot of press
Oh, can
outside
you
the
imagine?
hospital.
Yeah.
And I was just so scared. I honestly thought that they were going to attack the ambulances, and the whole journey there, because we had to get flown to like a private airstrip to
Yeah.
meet, and we had to stop off. We had to stop off on the way for petrol, and
Yeah.
I said to him, "Don't leave me on my own, like don't leave." And so the nurse got out of the ambulance. She was riding in with my ex and came into with me.
Yeah.
While he got out, he had to speak to them. And yeah, then my bed got taken out of the ambulances,
Yeah.
and we got loaded on to the flight and flown back. And then we had police and ambulances waiting for us at Stansted.
Yeah.
Um,
And
that took
what
us.
were you thinking on the way back? Like, what do you remember? What you were thinking?
I was in and out of sleep. I was in and out of sleep. But I remember like I kept calling to my ex to ask him whether he was okay.
Yeah.
But I don't remember thinking a lot other than that. But the doctor said I had like a massive amount of morphine.
Yeah.
Like I was having to. It was the pain and the anxiety. Like he was having to keep me medicated
Yeah.
the whole way. And then I remember getting to the hospital, and my family, I saw them outside. Some of my family were stood waiting where the ambulance is on dock, and but there was loads of surgeons, and they ran out, and all my family were like gathering around my bed, and but not my dad, because my dad was still out
Yeah.
in Tunisia, and I was so scared for him. But he had to like get my bags, get everything. So he had to go to the hotel where it happened. Um, but my uncle is in the Met. So I think my dad felt like, safe
He was
with
a
my
bit he
uncle.
felt safer, more reassured that he,
Had
yes,
him with him, and my other uncle's an ex-ambassador of Uzbekistan, so he obviously pulled some strings because flights were, you weren't allowed to go out there, like
no,
to
there was
Tunisia
no
after this
in or out
happened.
really, was there? It was
No,
strict.
they were just
Yeah,
flying people out that were already out there.
yeah,
So my uncle managed to obviously get my other uncle and my dad out. But yeah, and then I remember just being taken straight into this room, side room, and they like unbandaged everything. And I remember my mum fainted. Um, and then I remember hearing them say, "We don't know whether we can save her legs, but we're going to try." And I just said, "Please, like, try and save my
yeah.
legs." Um, and then I spent 3 months in hospital. Um,
What
the
hospital was that?
first Broomfield Hospital. Um, I had altogether, I've had 26 plus operations. I've lost count. Um, they had to drain. I had to have machines constantly draining my legs because all the debris that was still in there. It caused an infection. My body was in shock. Like,
Are you okay for the comments to go back on, Kirsty, or do you want to
yeah,
let them
that's
off?
fine.
Yeah?
No, it's fine now. Yeah.
You turn them on, please. Thank you. Show Kirsty some love, please.
I remember I was just so scared to be on my own. Like, I was scared of every noise, every bang. Obviously, being in a hospital, it's noisy, it's busy. I had to be put in a side room. I had to have family members like stay over. I couldn't be on my own. My partner at the time was put into a different ward because he was on like a. I was taken to intensive care,
Yeah,
and he was put on a fracture clinic ward.
yeah,
So we weren't together, but my sisters, my mum or my dad, like one of them was always with me, 24 hours,
yeah,
and my dad would sleep and my little sister would sleep in my hospital room with me at night until the hospital got funding for a nurse to do it.
yeah.
Um, and then I'd have a nurse sleep. But I remember sometimes the nurses would fall asleep and I'd wake up and they would be asleep, and I'd scream and I'd cry because I was like, "You're meant to be protecting, you're meant to be watching me."
And I
Like
suppose as well, Kirsty, you were thinking it was almost surreal that you thought you were back in the UK. You thought every time you'd close your eyes, you'd think that you were still in Tunisia. I'm sure that was quite
yeah,
a different. It was hard to adjust. That
yeah, it was, it
yeah, and you
was,
thought that he was going to come running through the room at any given moment. So I
yeah,
can imagine how scary that must have been for you.
it was.
Every noise, every time someone spoke, and I'm sure, I don't mean this against any gender, but because it was a male, any voice of a male
Yeah,
would just give you a bit of a fright.
yeah,
So,
it,
Kirsty, can you tell everybody the extent of your injuries, what you did suffer with, your injuries from the
yeah.
attack?
So I was SHOT 5 times in the bum and thighs, like upper thighs. Um, Shrapnel took out big chunks of my leg, like the front of my leg, like muscle, all the way down to the bone.
Yeah,
I lost that little toe. I lost my heel on that foot
yeah,
completely. A lot of the bones were away, and had to be reconstructed using my arm. Um, I have skin grafts all over my legs. Um, I have shrapnel still in my legs that they couldn't get every single piece out. Where I was, where the explosion, I was right on top of it.
Yeah.
Like I've got all them little burn, like they're still there now. They're like little black, like little dots all round from where it was literally right on me. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything because there is a lot.
You're doing amazing, honestly, Kirsty. And if there's any point, again, if you want to just stop, we will stop. We don't have to
Yeah, no,
continue.
I'm okay.
You feel comfortable?
Yeah, it's just like I was a 25-year-old girl and I'd always cared about my appearance, and it sounds so like superficial, and I'm so lucky like to have got like still be here.
So
But it
lucky.
was a lot to take in also. I wouldn't, in hospital, I wouldn't look. Like when they were doing bandage change, when they would take me down, they put like a sheet up and my family held it on either side so I couldn't see.
Yeah.
So until I was ready to look, they had to take away tissue, muscle, and skin from my arm and
Yes.
use it to reconstruct that heel, to put a backing on it so that it wasn't just bone
Yeah.
sticking out. I've had skin graft, like the top of my thighs have just like been, they're just like patches where skin grafts have been taken. And yeah, it's been a long, and it's still ongoing. I mean, I had surgery a couple of years ago and I'm due more surgery. They want to see whether they can take some fat and put it behind because I have massive indents in my legs,
Yeah.
and it's right down to the bone. And they're trying to see whether they can build it up
Yeah.
because they can't just sort of stitch it. There's not enough skin. It's got to be.
No.
So the operations are ongoing. I've lost count of how many there's been.
And
I
do you know
can't.
how many there has been up to date?
26 plus. I'm not 100% sure. Um, a lot of hospital stays and a lot of operations. But they were amazing. Like you can't. They become like hospital became my safe place in a sense because I spent 3 months there after, and I knew all of the nurses. Like I was on
It was
the
like more
ward,
like
and
home, weren't it, by then? It was sort of like these people are here to help me. They're going to
they came
protect
in
me.
and they would paint my nails.
Yeah.
They would bath me. I couldn't get out of bed. They would bath me. I remember actually when I was in ICU. This was the first day when I came home.
Yeah.
When I got back from Tunisia, and I could smell the burning of my hair. And obviously, my hair had. It sounds really stupid, but when I was in Tunisia, it was just left. It was just in the bun. It was just
Yeah.
from the day it happened, and it was all burnt. And I remember my little sister coming in, and she was just like brushing my hair, like, and they were all just trying to get out all these like bits of metal and
Yeah.
everything from my hair and trying to make me feel better. And she would come in and she would shave my like what she could of me to make me feel a bit more
Well, we
human.
still
And
need to, be pampered in hospital, Kirsty,
yeah, yeah, and they were all like all the nurses, my family, like they were just amazing. Like I wouldn't be where I am now without them.
And your sister's in the chat, right?
Yeah, my little sister, yeah, she's Ella. She's in the chat. Yeah, she came and lived with me. I was when I came out of hospital, I was still going in and out in operation. So I spent some time living with my dad. I spent some time living with my mum, and it obviously put a strain on me and my ex partner because we were both we both went through something so traumatic, so triggering, both trying to heal, both trying to come to terms with the life that we had was gone.
Yeah.
But we were on two very different paths, and he couldn't cope, and he left one day.
Was he dealing with it faster than you was, like mentally, or was it?
No, no, and I think he felt guilt that I was
Okay.
worse injured than he was, and he
And he
couldn't
couldn't
protect
deal with,
me.
yeah. Mm.
So, and then my little sister came and took over, and like, I couldn't walk. I was shuffling around, even though I'd been SHOT in the bum 5 times. Like that was how I was getting around.
Yeah.
So she came and she cooked for me. She looked after me. She fed me everything.
Is she your only sibling?
I've got an older sister too, but she had a daughter. Well, she's got a daughter, my niece, who was the last face that I saw before it happened, and that she was the face that gave me peace. So obviously she was very young, so we didn't tell her, but she come to visit me in hospital. But she kept asking why I wasn't getting better. So eventually, a few years later, we had to explain to her briefly what happened to me.
Yeah.
And you know, everyone around you, it wrecks their sense of security, you know, because you don't believe that this can happen to anyone you know.
No.
You don't believe it will happen to your family member. And like, I've become, like, I grieve for the person that I was.
Yeah.
Because I was so outgoing. And I grieve for people my family were also too, before they knew that of such tragedy. And, you know, and I feel guilt about that. And I feel guilt that I'm still here and a lot of other people didn't get to return. Because, like, do you know they say, like, when you're meant to experience near,
Yeah.
like, oh, it changed my life and I want to jump out of a plane and I want to do this and I want to do that, but all I wanted to do was be a mum and have a normal, happy life.
Yeah. That's it. Have a drink, sweetheart. Oh. Put some love in the chat, please, guys. Do you want to go out for another?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Go on, girl. We'll have one with you. You're brave, though, man. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
You're so.
I don't feel it. I just feel like a normal. You know, I get told, "Oh, you're so strong. You're so amazing." I don't feel it. I just feel like I'm just doing what anyone would do because,
The thing is,
just, you know,
Kirsty, you say, oh, I'm only just doing what anyone else would do, but actually, there's so many people that couldn't do what you're doing, and that, honestly, Kirsty, you're smashing it. You really, really are.
thank you.
And not only
I do
that,
appreciate it.
you're a mum now, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 boys.
2 boys.
Yeah.
How long
2.
after did you? So after obviously that happened, you had unfortunately split with the partner that you were with.
Yeah.
How long was that after the attack? Did you part ways?
It must have been in it. I want to say, like, I can't 100% remember, but I believe it was like November, December after it happened in June.
How many months apart is that?
About 4 or 5 months, I think.
So then after that, you went on a healing journey and you met your current partner?
Yeah, I met him. It'll be 7 years 7 years ago since we've been together in November. We've got he'll be 6 in October, and we've just had another baby who's 5 months old.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you. I
Oh,
never
gosh, so
thought
you've got your hands full now, Kirsty.
I do. Yeah, it's crazy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's
You
everything
wanted
I
to
ever
be a
wanted.
mum and you're a mum.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think it was even possible when I was with my ex.
Yeah.
Um, I I was pregnant, and my little boy had trisomy 18. I don't know whether you've ever heard of
I
it, Edward
don't know.
syndrome.
If you want to educate us on that, that would be great. If not, if it's too much to talk
No,
about.
no, it's fine. It's Edward syndrome.
Okay.
It's it's the second most common, apart from Down syndrome. But he had full Edward syndrome, so he wasn't compatible with life.
Okay.
Um, I always thought it was going to be something like me, and I thought it was never going to be possible. So so that was like a one in, I think it's like 1 in 10,000 chance or
Yeah.
something like that. It's something silly. I can't remember exactly, but um,
And at
yeah.
this
So
point, Kirsty, you're thinking, for fuck's sake, why me?
yeah,
Because you've
yeah,
already gone through so much.
and I thought, I must be the unluckiest person on earth. Either that or the luckiest, like in a
But
sense,
now you've met the love of your life.
Yeah, yeah, I have.
Obviously, not all men are perfect, Johnson.
Oh, he's like the male version of me. Honestly, we don't argue. Like our life is just so happy, and like there's never a raised voice in our house. Like, don't get me wrong, we might be a bit sarky to each other, but
Yeah.
we don't argue. We're not on and off. Like, we're just so happy, and we're both older. We've both, experienced some sort of what can be toxic relationships,
Yeah.
and now we're just in such a happy place.
Be
And I never
content.
thought, and I just never thought it, because obviously I was with my ex for like 7 years,
Yeah. And I
Um,
can imagine as well, Kirsty, like as women, we do judge our appearance a hell of a lot.
yes,
No matter what, we could be perfect, we could be slim, we could look like Kim Kardashian, we could honestly be the most perfect woman, and we would still find a fault in ourselves. So for you to go through that, not only were you mentally traumatized, but you also had to deal with yourself and your injuries,
yeah. So it's
and constantly
like,
worrying about whether people will accept you, or
look
whether
at me.
accept you for what you are. And but honestly, Kirsty, now look at you, man, a mum in love
Yeah,
with 2 boys.
yeah. It's like I can't. It's silly things like I can't wear trainers or dolly shoes, or
Yeah.
literally because I can't wear anything that sits on my heel.
Yeah.
I can't fit in anything, if I'm honest. One foot's a size 5 and one's still a 4. Just where it's like, it's so the pain every day, like
Yeah.
the pain every day is a lot. When I got pregnant, I had to come off of a very strong medication.
Yeah.
Um, and I managed to come off of that. But I'm still on a lot of medications,
Listen,
and
that is okay, Kirsty. You've been
yeah.
through a hell of a time. That pain, I'm hoping for you, has got easier. Has it got a little bit easier?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's got easier, but if you deal with chronic pain on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
you learn to live with chronic pain.
Yeah.
Sorry, just getting my little boy's menus out of the way.
Yes.
And I've learned how to manage it to a certain extent, but I
Yeah.
still get really bad days where, my partner will come home from work because I'm in so much pain that I can't cope, and I need to sort of take some morphine. Um, so, I can't. I have such mum guilt because you take things for granted. Like, I can't just walk to my nearest park with
Yeah.
my boys because even though it might seem like it's really near, I will literally need to sleep for 24 hours afterwards because the pain is so intense. as soon as my muscles relax after I pushed myself to try and do something,
Yeah.
it's unbearable. And I can't go on a zoo trip, for instance, because I can't walk around there. I can't do
And
it.
you'll be literally almost bedbound for days after, I suppose. If you're
Yeah,
walking so much, you'd be in so much pain for days and days. But you
and I
shouldn't
feel
have that
bad
mum guilt,
because,
you know. Don't have that guilt because you have absolutely smashed this, Kirsty, because I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I don't know how I would have dealt with that. I do not know. And for you to keep pushing through, you've met your lovely husband, married?
not yet, we're engaged.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna listen. We're gonna hook you up now. Just get a ring, for
Yeah.
God's sake.
Yeah, no, we are engaged. We are getting married. We're
Oh,
just,
that's lovely. But
obviously,
you've
the
got
boys have come along.
honestly a beautiful lady. You found the love of your life. You working? Or we not going into work yet? No. Do you know
I
what? You
can't,
deserve all the time in the world off.
yeah, I can't. It's too much physically. I do some paperwork for my partner, um, but I can't. Like I couldn't be a mum and
No.
work. I mean, I tried before. I tried after, like just going back to my old job, but doing office.
Yeah.
And even that, like I'd sleep for like 2 days. I'd have to have
Yeah.
2 days off in between, and that was just 3 hours. Like, and then I'd sleep for 2 days. Like, it just wasn't possible to do. And I don't think it ever will be because
But you
of
still
how
tried.
excruciating. But I
You,
did try
you
because
still tried.
I needed something. But I've had for like 3 years of counselling. But then once it went with the NHS, that was it. You know. I didn't want to start again. Like I know I could have gone private counselling, but to have to. So the
You
lady
shouldn't
that
have
was
to
counselling
pay.
me,
Yeah.
she met me from my bedside the day I returned to the UK, and to think of having to start from the beginning with
Yeah.
a whole new counsellor, like that didn't understand, I just couldn't bring myself to do that.
No.
I just saw a comment. I do have a mobility scooter.
Do
I
you?
do, but I find it.
No, I get
This
it.
sounds so stupid. I find it really embarrassing.
Listen, we're women, right? And
Yeah,
yeah, this is just what we are. We are quite stubborn, to be fair, actually.
yeah,
And you do feel embarrassed, and people are looking at you, what they're thinking. Oh, like I wonder what they're thinking that's happened to me. Like,
yeah,
and you can tell that they probably want to ask you, like, what? How come you look so young? Like, what? But
yeah.
honestly, Kirsty, who gives a fuck?
No, I know. I went out
Gives
on
a shit. You look how
Halloween,
beautiful you
which
are, man. You would pull off a mobility scooter. Let me tell you, sweetheart.
I went on it on Halloween, and my partner put he done up these Halloween balloons, and he put like a skeleton on the front and I had a pumpkin on the back. And I was going around the corner and I nearly ran into some children. I was like, I'm not used to this. Like when we went
God's
trick or
sake.
treating with our little boy.
At Christmas, get some tinsel and that fucking lights around it.
Don't. I've actually even run over my own foot on the
Oh,
mobility scooter. So I got stuck in someone's garden and I was trying to get out. And I
no.
forgot to take my hand off the gear. I don't drive. I like,
Nah,
yeah, no,
don't
I'm
do
not.
that, yeah.
So I'm not very
God's
good on
sake.
it. So I'll try and, yeah, try and stay
Well,
away from it. People's
no,
safety
yeah,
more
stay away
so.
from that, man. Dangerous shit.
Yeah,
God's sake. No, but honestly, Kirsty, you've smashed it, and I think everybody in the chat will tell you the same. You've
thank you.
absolutely shown us what bravery really is, and it's put everything into perspective when people are, arguing and bickering about this, that, and the other, and then you've got yourself that has been through such a traumatic time.
Yeah,
And look at you now. I can see your home is beautiful. I can see
thank you.
it's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
I'm
I
sure
just saw
you're.
about,
Go on.
sorry, about the man that saved my life.
Yeah,
I have spoke to him. We do speak.
you're in contact.
Yeah, he was actually going to the hotel for a job interview to be a like a waiter that day, and he was 23, I believe,
Oh, he was only young.
and he put his life at risk. My dad went and met up with him to thank him. So he met up with him in Tunisia
And
when
what
I
about the
flew back.
lady as well that was with her partner? Do you still have contact with her?
Yeah, I do. I have
Yeah.
contact. Sorry, I thought you meant the lady that
No, the
came
lady
and
that
then
was sort of
left.
stroking your
No,
hair.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I still have contact with her, and her husband recovered. He's obviously got life-changing injuries still, but he's he's here, and but I don't talk to him as much anymore because he suffered with the trauma also because he saw a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he was trying to heal also. But we do message every now and again. Got each other on Facebook, so
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
That's really, really good. So there has been another question, and it's up to you if you answer it.
yeah,
Well, there's a few questions that I've seen, and one is, have you been on holiday since?
yeah. I have. So I went the year after. I went with my dad because my dad was like my safe place also because I just wanted him around me all the time to feel safe. So the year after, I went on holiday with him and my stepmom to Greece. There was a night that there were fireworks. I suffer quite bad with PTSD. We wasn't aware that there was going to be a night of fireworks, so I went to my room and I hid in a room with no windows because I was scared. And then obviously my dad sat with me on the floor until I was ready to get up.
Yeah.
But I have done it, and I went with him the year after to Spain, and my partner's mum lives in France, so we've been over to her. I have been asked if I'll ever go back. In fact, a news
A
company asked whether
journalist.
they could actually take me back, and I said no,
I
I'd
don't.
never
Yeah.
go back. I
When
don't need to.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if. I mean, it is up to you. It's your feelings. It's your mental health.
And just a couple of other things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation about whether there was one or two. Um, I I believe that there was two. I heard. Oh, thank you. Bless you. I could hear explosions and going off
Yeah.
when he was walking around right
Okay,
by
so you think
me,
that there was two men involved?
and it was covered up, and also a lot of police security guards from Tunisia have been convicted because they were threatened and, in some circumstances, paid off by the. Can I say terrorist? Sorry,
What?
can I say terrorist?
No, say T.
They were paid off by the T not to be there straight away,
Yeah.
and some were bribed, some were threatened, and so there was no police, no help for about half an hour. The people that were trying to help were the locals, and in the end, one was unalived through a local getting up on a roof and throwing a tile down. The
Oh
police
my
did
god.
not. Some articles it says that the police did, but they didn't. Um, and it was political. The security guards, we were the only hotel where the security guards didn't have GUNs, and they just went. So, yeah, there's been a lot going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
I know that you did want to bring up a few things that were quite like it was misinformation.
Yeah, there's
Is
a
there
lot.
anything else that you wanted to correct that you can remember?
There's a lot of articles, there's a lot of YouTube reconstructions that I've only just come across through thinking of doing this. I wanted to have a look, and it's just not factual. They've got my name wrong, they've got, my occupation wrong, they've got other people's stories wrong, they've got my story wrong. And I know, and a lot of articles have been manipulated for a better story in their eyes,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that straight.
Interesting.
I think that's
Can
it.
I ask, what was the result for the two men involved? Do we know?
They always said that it was just the one.
And so the one, do we know what happened to him?
He was unalived through a local getting up on a roof and throwing a tile down, and it hit him and unalived him. That's what we were led to believe. I don't know, but also it was said that there was a jet ski that he came in on, but then also it said that he was drove in. He did have the GUN under the parasol, that is correct. But there's just too many things. Sorry, Lisa, you don't believe what's true. So there's just so many things that it could. There's just a lot of discrepancies.
So much speculation and
so much. And I've tried to get my notes because I wanted to know exactly what each wound was.
Yeah.
But it's all in Tunisian, and they wasn't able to get the translator and stuff like that. So I'm not 100%. But yeah, so they're just a few of the things that I just wanted to clear up.
That's fine. Do you know what? You've done amazing. I know that there was one picture that you wanted me to show, and you're okay with me doing that?
Yes, yeah.
Let me see if I can do it. Can you see?
Slightly. So they're the 38 that lost their life that day, that didn't get to come home.
Yeah. I'll see if I can do a better green screen. Can you see? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirsty, you've been amazing.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me the time to talk about it. It helps. It does help to
do you
talk
feel
about
okay?
it now and again. I do. I will sleep well tonight. Obviously, I just want people to be aware that, like, although you may look at me and think, oh, she looks fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's changed my life. Like, I can't. Like, I'm so anxious. Like, I just check for exits. Like, wherever I go, I have to know exits. But I can't be around loads of people.
No.
And
any sort of loud noise is bound to.
A firework night is the worst, even though I know it's coming.
I was just about to say, firework night, I'm sure.
I know it's coming, but I hate it, and it's horrible because, like, I want to be the mum that could take her boys to I can't do it. My partner takes.
One day when you're ready in your own pace, then boys will understand that actually mum is strong as fuck. She had a bad ass beep, and when she's ready, we'll go.
Yeah, I mean, I try, and my little boy's getting to that point where he's like asking me, like, Mummy Nine Toes, like, like, And I'm like, that piggy
Do
just
you know
went to the
what? I'm
market and
glad that
it
you've
never came
had.
back.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
You see,
So,
this is how amazing you are and how brave you are that
you have
you're
to, you have
having a
to,
laugh about something that could have potentially ruined you, and you've
yeah.
still managed to find humour just with your little boy.
And it was like when I was doing the physiotherapy because I had to learn how to walk again.
Yeah.
And we were doing the physiotherapy, and he said to me, "When was the last time that you ran?" And I was like, "Well, when do you think was the last time that I ran?" And I was, he just looked at me and we just laughed at each other. Like, you have to find that, you have to keep your
Yeah.
sense of humour about
You
you
have
because
to.
I lost so much. I'm not going to lose everything, and I'm just here to give my children the best life I can give them, and that's all I want. And that's just it, really. And this is who I am now. It's took me a long time to come to terms with it. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to go outside in flip flops and a pair of shorts because I understand when children stare and children ask because children they don't know, they're
They're
innocent.
innocent.
And
They don't know. Yeah.
but when you get, like, I've been out before and I've had like adults like pointing at each other and
Yeah.
saying, look, look, look. And like, I can clearly hear and I can clearly see, and it's like, just be more considerate to other
Yeah.
people, and just know that there's also, like, all disabilities, they aren't visible. If you saw me in trousers, shoes, you wouldn't know, like, any different, but it is there and it's
To
inside,
look at you
and
now, you wouldn't see anything wrong.
no, no, not until I've got a pair of shorts on or something like that. But
You still
it's
look hot, Kirsty.
thank you,
God.
thank you.
Honestly, you've done amazing, incredible, and you've got them beautiful boys. And do you know what? Fuck what everyone else says, because them boys won't judge you. Your mum.
No, no, exactly. And I'm gonna, my boys are gonna grow up to know
Oh.
not to, be rude, not to treat anyone differently, to, like, be loving and caring to everyone, and that's just all I aspire to do. Bring up my boys to be the best
They
they could
don't. They
be.
don't. They don't see the nine toes, Kirsty. They
No,
see that my mum is fucking perfect,
yeah, no, yeah,
and they'll love you forever. No judgments.
unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Superhero mum.
thank you.
Go on, Kirsty. Do you want to have a little fag with us, and then we'll let you go and have
Well,
some time.
I think I'm gonna have to roll one actually. Oh,
Everybody, show some love for Kirsty in the chat.
I appreciate all the kind messages, and I haven't been looking, if I'm honest, not all the time because I haven't wanted to be, like, thrown off. But, like, I really appreciate all the love and support you're all giving. Like,
You've been amazing. And it's just, do you know what? If there's anything that anyone could take away from this, is that no matter what life throws at you, life wouldn't throw it at you if they didn't think you were strong enough to handle it.
and that's how I see it. Because if they said to me, like, if sorry, bear with me.
That's all right.
They said to me, like, if you were older, if you were like, oh my god, oh, G crew, thank you.
Gentle man.
Oh, thank you so much. That, like, scared me
Gee,
then.
stop. Gee, man.
Oh, bless me.
Pick up G, would you mind if I go halves with that with Kirsty, so she can treat herself, please?
Oh,
Kirsty, we're
don't
going
be
halves.
silly.
Big up
Oh,
G crew, we're going
don't be
halves,
silly.
Kirsty.
Oh,
Go and treat yourself,
that was
man.
well cool. That was. Oh, don't be silly. You don't have to do
Nah,
that,
that's
Joe.
it. You need to treat yourself. We're going to treat you, man.
Oh, it's
Big up, G.
I can't remember where I was now.